The highly anticipated Superman movie courageously opts to skip the familiar origin story, dropping viewers directly into a world where the Man of Steel is already a seasoned hero. A refreshing choice given how often his beginnings have been depicted. The film largely hits its stride, successfully blending a hopeful tone, genuine heart, and an authentic comic book feel that resonates throughout. Its reception, however, is likely to be quite divisive, as it's the kind of movie you'll either deeply love or strongly dislike, depending on your expectations or comparisons to previous iterations of the character. On another aspect, the characters are notably enjoyable, interesting, and often funny, contributing significantly to the film's appeal, while the action sequences and CGI are impressively executed and visually spectacular. However, the movie's primary drawbacks stem from its ambitious breadth. Superman attempts to cram in too many narrative threads, leaving several plot points unexplored and various characters underdeveloped, which can make it challenging for audiences to fully grasp every aspect. Furthermore, James Gunn's characteristic brand of over-the-top comedy, while often entertaining, frequently overshadows moments that needed dramatic weight, swiftly brushing away emotional beats that deserved more time to land effectively. In this video, we're diving deep into this latest Superman installment, going beyond the surface to explore everything that made this new cinematic take on the Man of Steel come to life. We'll pull back the curtain on fascinating behind-the-scenes details, uncover hidden Easter eggs and clever nods to past Superman iterations, analyze the pivotal casting choices that brought these beloved characters to life, and break down the incredible inspirations that fueled the movie's most thrilling action sequences. But before we begin, a quick reminder that this video will contain heavy spoilers, so be prepared for what's coming. Nathan Fillion's casting as Guy Gardner continues a long-standing collaboration and friendship between the actor and director James Gunn, with this marking their 7th film together. Fillion was a popular fan favorite to play the Green Lantern Hal Jordan in a live-action role for years. He also voiced the character in several DC animated films, from Green Lantern Emerald Knights, Justice League Doom, and Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox. In a unique twist, Fillion based his portrayal of the often abrasive Guy Gardner on Estelle Getty's character Sophia Petrillo from The Golden Girls, aiming to capture her unfiltered and blunt personality. The film also features a clever Easter egg where Fillion's character expresses a desire to hit his teammates with a giant hammer, a humorous nod to his fan-favorite role as Captain Hammer in Joss Whedon's Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Additionally, Fillion was a strong advocate for his character's distinctive bowl-cut hairstyle. Despite initial conversations with James Gunn about giving the character a different look, Fillion argued that the bowl cut was a core part of Guy Gardner's comic book appearance. He believed that fans would be disappointed if this signature detail was changed, and his persistence ultimately led to the hairstyle being included in the final film to maintain accuracy to the source material. Furthermore, a total of 5 Green Lantern rings were created for Guy Gardner, and Fillion was so fond of the prop that he was allowed to keep one of the rings after filming Wrapped. He later showed his appreciation and excitement for the role by wearing the very same ring to the movie's premiere, treating it as a special memento from his time on set. David Corenswet's journey to becoming Superman began while he was on the set of the movie Twisters. He learned he had been cast as the Man of Steel and celebrated the news with his fellow cast and crew, even sharing a video of the moment. This casting came after DC Studios, led by James Gunn, had decided to reboot the entire cinematic universe. This decision was made even before Henry Cavill's cameo in Black Adam, which had teased his return as the character. Upon the film's release, Corenswet revealed that Cavill, who had previously played the role, had sent him a personal and encouraging letter, which Corenswet chose to keep private out of respect for the meaningful gesture. For his portrayal, Corenswet was very particular about certain details. He insisted that the iconic red trunks be returned to Superman's suit, arguing that they were essential to making the character approachable, especially to children. He humorously justified his request by pointing out that a flying alien with laser eyes needed something to make him seem less intimidating. For the role of Clark Kent, he found inspiration in his own life, basing the character's quiet and gentle demeanor on his brother-in-law, a tall and soft-spoken man. For his Superman performance, Corenswet looked to Christopher Reeve's classic portrayal from the 1970s and 80s films. Additionally, Corenswet's physical transformation for the role was significant, with his personal trainer, Paolo Mascitti, confirming that the actor gained 40 pounds of muscle. Mascitti noted that Corenswet, who is 6 feet 4 inches tall, went from being naturally lean to a more muscular 240 pounds to achieve Superman's imposing physique, a routine similar to the one Christopher Reeve underwent decades earlier. The casting of Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane was particularly intentional. As director James Gunn revealed, they were chosen not just for their individual performances, but because of their undeniable on-screen chemistry. Gunn emphasized that the goal was to find the perfect Chloes, a nickname for their partnership, and their combined dynamic was the deciding factor. Additionally, and in a unique performance, Corenswet took the dual role of voicing the Hammer of Baravia, the armored figure who is actually an evil clone of Superman named Ultraman, created by Lex Luthor, making Corenswet's contribution to the film's cast a key part of both the heroic and villainous sides of the story. There is a fun cameo from actor Michael Rosenbaum, who previously became famous among fans for his acclaimed portrayal of Lex Luthor on the TV series Smallville. In a nod to his history with the character, Rosenbaum has a small voice role as a Raptor soldier, a member of the armed force employed by Lex Luthor to take down Superman. The cameo was a result of his long-standing friendship with director James Gunn, who asked Rosenbaum to do the role as a fun favor. David Corenswet and co-star Nicholas Hoult, who plays Lex Luthor in this film, both admitted to growing up watching Smallville, which helped them understand their characters' dynamic and got used to the series' iterations of Clark and Lex, respectively. Hoult even told this to Michael Rosenbaum himself on his podcast Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. The Hall of Justice featured in the film is a direct tribute to the classic animated series Super Friends. For the exterior shots, Gunn used the Cincinnati Union Terminal, which was the very same building that inspired the iconic Hall of Justice in the 1973 cartoon. This connection is further emphasized in an interior scene where a sign reading "To Trains" is visible, serving as a clever Easter egg that acknowledges the building's original function as a busy railway station. By using the real-life structure that served as the basis for the Super Friends headquarters, the film honors the Justice League's history and creates a tangible link to one of the most beloved versions of the team. For the flight sequences, director James Gunn took a unique approach, drawing inspiration from the aerial cinematography of Top Gun: Maverick. He explained that he wanted to capture the feeling of filming real jet fighters, which led his team to use small, advanced drones to shoot scenes of Superman flying on sound stages. By doing this, Gunn was able to create a more dynamic and intimate sense of flight, making the audience feel as if they were right there with the character. In addition to this, Gunn also looked to prior film versions of the character, citing both Richard Donner's classic films for their optimistic tone and Zack Snyder's Man of Steel for its large-scale, powerful action scenes. Gunn sought to blend these different influences to create a new but familiar version of Superman that honors his cinematic past while pushing forward with a fresh, modern feel. Another major influence which contributed hugely to his approach to this movie was the Japanese film Godzilla Minus One. Gunn explained that his goal was to blend spectacular superhero action, including elements like the giant monster, with a strong focus on human drama. Much like how Godzilla Minus One told a deeply emotional story, while also featuring a gigantic monster. By taking inspiration from that film, Gunn aimed to ensure that even with all the incredible powers and fantastical elements, the audience would remain emotionally connected to the characters and their personal struggles. Furthermore, James Gunn decided not to put sculpted muscles on the Superman suit because he wanted it to show the actual physique of David Corenswet. writer and director James Gunn has openly shared that the death of his father had a profound impact on the screenplay for Superman. The film's release date, July 11th, 2025, was chosen as a tribute, as it was his father's birthday. Gunn explained that his father, who passed away in 2019, was a major source of support for his filmmaking career and even read Superman comics to better understand his son. This personal influence is reflected in the film's themes, as Gunn wanted to explore Superman's character by focusing on his humanity and the choices he makes, with his Kryptonian birth parents and his human, adoptive parents, both playing a key role in shaping the man he becomes. In a special announcement to celebrate Adopt a Shelter Dog Month in October 2024, director James Gunn revealed that Superman's superpowered dog, Krypto, would be a part of the film. For Krypto's first live-action appearance on the big screen, Gunn used a very personal source of inspiration, his own rescue dog, Ozu. Ozu was 3D scanned, and his physical features were then used as the basis for the digital model of Krypto in the movie. This is a notable change from the comics, where Krypto is traditionally shown as a white Labrador or Shepherd, whereas Ozu is a smaller, scruffy mixed breed. Unlike his previous film appearance in the animated DC League of Super Pets, where he was voiced by Dwayne Johnson, Krypto in this new film does not speak, which grounds the character in a more realistic way. In a move to address past criticisms of the character's portrayal, director James Gunn intentionally cast an older actress for the role of Lois Lane in this movie. This decision was a direct response to a common critique of Superman Returns, where actress Kate Bosworth was seen as too young at 22 to believably play an established and world-weary journalist who had already won a Pulitzer Prize. To avoid a similar issue, Gunn cast Rachel Brosnahan, who turned 34 during filming, ensuring that her age and experience would lend more credibility and maturity to her role as the seasoned reporter for the Daily Planet. Production designer Beth Mickle undertook a significant and challenging task for the movie, spending 6 months designing and 16 weeks building a practical physical set for the Fortress of Solitude. Director James Gunn insisted on a tangible location for the hero's retreat, opting for real-world craftsmanship over computer-generated imagery. Mickle, who previously worked with Gunn on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, told Variety that she felt a lot of pressure to honor the original film's design, where a crystal was used to grow the fortress from the ground. While the new design still paid homage to that crystalline look, Mickle also wanted to add something new. For the exterior shots, the production team traveled to the icy landscape of Svalbard, Norway. Back in the studio, the entire set, including 242 giant resin crystals, was physically built. Mickle noted the massive undertaking, joking that they bought all the resin that existed on the eastern seaboard in 2023 to get the job done, as it was more cost-effective than building the set with CGI. The only use of visual effects for the fortress was to create its movement as it rises from beneath the ice. The interior was also a full practical build, with the computer, dashboard, and every crystal behind it, along with the floor being physical props. Mickle fondly recalled the moment actor David Corenswet saw the completed set for the first time, walking up the steps in his Superman cape and being incredibly gracious and complimentary about the work. Before David Corenswet was cast as Superman, the search for the new Man of Steel included several notable actors, with Nicholas Hoult, Andrew Richardson, and Tom Brittney all screen testing for the part. Ultimately, Hoult, who had been a top contender, was instead cast in the villainous role of Lex Luthor. Jack Quaid, who voiced the Man of Steel in My Adventures with Superman, revealed that he auditioned for the same role. Other actors who were in the running for Superman included Harris Dickinson, Wolfgang Novogratz, and Pearson Fode, while actor Jacob Elordi reportedly turned down the opportunity, stating that the part felt too dark for him. Patrick Schwarzenegger also auditioned for the Superman role, a part that his famous father, Arnold Schwarzenegger, once pursued for the 1978 film. While neither of them ultimately landed the role of the Man of Steel, Patrick has found success elsewhere, as he had previously auditioned for the role of the villainous Homelander in the series The Boys, before successfully booking the role of Golden Boy in the spin-off series Gen V. The casting process for other key roles was also extensive. Isabella Merced, who plays Hawkgirl, had previously been considered for the role of Ratcatcher in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, as well as the lead role in the now-shelved Batgirl movie. She eventually landed the role of Hawkgirl, and at the same time she was filming the second season of The Last of Us. She ended up flying back and forth between each set to finish filming her scenes. For the role of Lois Lane, a number of talented actresses auditioned for the highly sought-after role. Among the final contenders were Emma Mackey, known for her work in Sex Education, Phoebe Dynevor from Bridgerton, and Samara Weaving, who has starred in films like Ready or Not. Camila Mendes and Mary Mouser were also among those considered before Rachel eventually won the part. James Gunn has drawn inspiration from several classic comic book stories for the film, aiming to capture the essence of the character while creating a new narrative. He has cited notable titles such as Superman for All Seasons and Superman Birthright, which both explore Superman's early days and his journey to becoming a hero. Gunn also drew from the epic scope of All-Star Superman and the action-packed Superman Ending Battle. The inclusion of Superman Brainiac as an influence is particularly interesting, as Gunn revealed he even considered making the villain Brainiac the main antagonist of the film, although he ultimately chose a different path for the story. Will Reeve, the youngest son of the legendary Superman actor Christopher Reeve, has a special cameo in the film. As a tribute to his father's legacy, Will appears as a reporter, a role that reflects his real-life career as a television correspondent for ABC News. His cameo was first reported by a Cleveland newspaper in July 2024 and was filmed in Cleveland's Public Square, where parts of the movie were being shot. This appearance is particularly meaningful given that Will was only 3 years old when his father suffered the accident that left him paralyzed, making his connection to the iconic role a very personal one. Legendary basketball star Shaquille O'Neal made a memorable appearance in a promo for Superman alongside James Gunn and David Corenswet. This appearance was a fun and self-aware nod to O'Neal's own history with the DC Universe, as he famously played the character John Henry Irons in the 1997 film Steel. In the comics, Irons is a hero who is a close ally of Superman, a connection that has also been explored in the Superman and Lois television series, with the role of Steel being played by Wole Parks. O'Neal's participation in the promo acknowledged his past as a superhero actor while celebrating the new era of the Superman franchise. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the fascinating world of Superman. From the film's subtle nods to classic comics, to the intriguing new direction for the Man of Steel, and the most compelling fun facts and hidden details that make this film so special, it's clear that James Gunn is just getting started with the DCU. So if you enjoyed this video and learned something new, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more intriguing deep dives and fun facts about your favorite movies coming your way. Also, share in the comments below what you thought of this movie. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next video.